Growing up, I did not have religious aspects in my life at all. So going to college, there was a big struggle to live for God. That's when I really noticed that I was missing something, and that's what I really wanted to search for. So pretty much the first 3 years of my college career were a big struggle, just trying to find him, figure out what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to find him, how I was supposed to live for him, because I never had that influence in my life, so I didn't even know where to start. Things that got in my way of my goal would have to be, number one, lack of knowledge and not knowing where to start with my goal, not knowing how to get closer to God, not knowing correct people to talk to or anything like that. So what I did to start was I just went to church on Sunday, but the problem with that was that's all I did. I didn't live from that or learn from that or do anything else, so that was a big problem that I had to work through, was where to start. Another big problem, and something that definitely stopped me from getting to my goal, would have to be the people that was surrounding me, and that being maybe bad people, people with bad morals, or even people who were Christians and trying to direct me in the right way, but not really living for God themselves. So it wasn't really beneficial to me to have them in my life and to try and influence me, because they weren't really doing the correct thing either. So those are two main struggles that I definitely had to work through. I would definitely say for anybody who is lost in their search for God, or don't really know where they're going, or think that they have it right, I would say to definitely just delve in deeper. Like, if you think you're where you should be, go 10 steps more. Don't just stick your toes in faith, like jump in the whole pond. That was like a big struggle for me, was that I was just go to church on Sunday and think that was good enough for me, but it's not. You know, you need to branch out, meet new people, join Basic, go to Bible study, go to church every Sunday, go to the coffee hour. You really have to delve in and just open yourself up, as uncomfortable as that is, and that's really the only way that you're going to really know who you are in God and really trust. You have to really truly trust, or it's not going to work. You're not going to get where you really need to be.
So things started out when I was in high school, and I kind of knew what I always wanted to do with my life. I always wanted to be an artist, and it was something I loved to death, and I would just spend hours and hours and hours drawing. And life was pretty good, you know. I had a family, I had a pet dog, my mom and dad were still together, and things were good in life. Like, I had no complaints. But the summer of my sophomore year, things went awry, and my dad ended up cheating on my mom. And this happened for a whole year without us knowing. And I was the one that found the emails, and just reading those letters to this woman that we didn't even know. Like, she was even in our house one time, and we didn't even know about it. It was just disgusting, and I was just so shocked. So my mom confronted my dad, and he left, you know, and that was the last time I saw him. And 2 months later, he passed away from a cardiac arrest, and everything was just so sudden, because we lost him emotionally, and then we lost him physically. Like, he wasn't around before he passed away, because he would go to Florida for maybe like 4 or 5 months out of the year, and even when he was around, he was sleeping or, you know, doing guy stuff, like riding around his motorcycle. So I didn't get to see him that much. So for the longest time, I felt like he was still around. And it took me a really long time to kind of come to terms with things. So after he passed away, I kind of lost a lot of my motivation to go for art, and I kind of slipped through the last 2 years of high school, not really caring about what I was doing or caring about anything really. I just didn't want to think about things. But my mom was pushing me to go to college, and so I went to Syracuse, and I wasn't really excited about it, and it just kind of happened. So about a month in, I met some friends, and we went out and we went drinking like most college students, and a lot of people, like I heard this a lot of people say that when you're, you know, drunk, that you do things that you would really want to do when you're sober. But I would have to disagree with that. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to wake up with someone that they don't know, you know, their very first time. And it was just a really, really awful experience. I was really ashamed of myself because I wasn't that type of person, and just really embarrassed. And it took me a long time to tell anyone, just because I was just so ashamed. I was like, I didn't even know who I was. And it just broke my self-esteem. Like I hated myself after that. Like I really did. So I just drank to like stop thinking about things, and went to more parties, and that was my freshman year at Syracuse. So sophomore year, I was already feeling pretty bad about myself, and I got into like this relationship, and it was good at first because I remember thinking like how amazing it was that someone could love me and care about me when I just hated myself. Like I couldn't find any self-worth or anything. But things kind of went for the worst, and this person ended up being really manipulative, and they kind of enabled me because I just sunk into like a deeper depression each year, just feeling worthless, like I had nothing good going for me. And it even escalated into like physical abuse and even sexual abuse, and that was really, really hard. Even if you're in a relationship, it doesn't mean that the person that you're with has a right to your body. And that I know when people think about rape, they think of, you know, brutal rapes and somebody forcing themselves on you. But whenever you don't consent to something yourself, that's rape. And in this relationship, I was just used a lot in that aspect, and it completely broke my self-esteem. It wasn't until my like junior year when I got back to college, like it wasn't even maybe like 2 months in, and I just hit like this really, just like the lowest I ever felt, and I literally wanted to die that night. I just didn't see a point in living. I didn't see a point in myself, and I just hurt a lot of people, and I just wanted to stop feeling everything. So I tried to commit suicide. I drank. I just drank and drank and drank, and I was just wandering on campus, and I should have died that night. I shouldn't have lived through that. I really don't even remember much, but I know that after that, like I left school, I took some time off, and I moved to Florida to get some help, and it was really hard because it happened all in like a weekend. Like everything was so fast. You know, I left school, bam, went to Florida, and I didn't even tell like any of my friends. Like people would message me and be like, "Hey, where have you been? Like, what happened to you?" And I had a really hard time like trying to explain myself. Like, what do you say? Like, oh, I got suicidal. I tried to kill myself, so I got pulled out of college. So I just didn't reply to anyone. So I ended up being hospitalized for a week, and it was a really awful experience. Let me tell you, it was just awful, and it was kind of like a reality check to me too. Like I had to change something, otherwise, like I wouldn't be around anymore. Otherwise, I don't even know. So I ended up, you know, getting on medication, and it helped a lot. And I moved back home, and things were going really well, but there was still like this emptiness in me. There was still like this big hole in my heart, and you know, I resisted going to God for so long because, you know, I wanted to do this on my own. I wanted to say like, hey, I got my life together on my own. I didn't need help from anyone. So I was really stubborn and really prideful. but it just wasn't working. Like I just still felt like I was missing something in my life. So, so I started taking small steps in direction, going to church occasionally, reading the Bible a little bit, but not really. Like I wasn't really getting it. I wasn't fully invested. And so Katie brought up the basic conference, and I was really nervous, but you know what? I said, I'm going to do it. You know, she's been asking me to go to this for years. I might as well, you know, take a chance. Like, what's the worst that could happen? I remember it was during the worship, and they're singing, and they asked for people to just come up and praise the Lord. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. It's not in my comfort zone. Like, it was just not something I wanted to do, and I would have felt just awkward. But, you know, the speaker said, you know, step out of your comfort zone. Like, this is a place to take chances and to go for it. And I'm like, that's a pretty good point, you know? I'm here for a reason. Like, I didn't just come here to kind of, like, test the waters. I came here to, like, freaking jump in. So that's what I did. I went up there and I just opened my heart and I just asked for the Lord to come in and just touch my life. And I didn't cry up there. I wept and I just bawled my eyes out, and it's just an indescribable feeling to just be up there open to the Lord and asking Him to come into your life and then feeling His presence. Like, it's indescribable. And I just cried the whole weekend. I pretty much was a big baby. and I don't know, like, it was just like I could just feel myself releasing all those terrible feelings, like all those bad memories, all those things I just hated about myself that made me feel so worthless. All that was gone. Like, I just, through that moment, like, the Lord just touched me, and He embraced me, and He was like saying, you know, that's okay. You screwed up in the past. That's okay, because I still love you. I still feel lost at times, but I'm not scared anymore, because I know the Lord is going to be right there with me, and He's in my heart and in my life, and I know that no matter what happens, you know, He's going to be guiding me and keeping me safe, and just taking care of me, just like a father would a child.